So now we're getting into the nitty-gritty part of the videos. We're really going to be talking about the entry models. In particular, with this one, we're going to be going through the first one. In total, there's going to be three types of entry models that we do actually enter off. These are the only three models that you really do need to care about when it comes to this strategy. I've tested over and over and over again. Obviously, starting from the sort of basic entry model that we do talk about, liquidity sweep of the Asia lows or the Asia highs. Obviously, that does happen. That's the one we're going to be talking about first. Then it gets a bit more complex later on. But yeah, starting off with this one right here. So let's get straight into it. So when it comes to the first entry model, the first one we're going to be looking at is the entry type 1. This is called the liquidity sweep. So in general, this one's the classic London low. We look to stay with the trend, sweeping liquidity below the build up, below the lows, for example, in this scenario. And then as soon as we see some clear confirmations for buys within our time zone, we actually do enter. Remember, we must always stick within the time zones. Anytime before, anytime afterwards, we're not interested at all. Usually this should be sort of earlier on within the sort of trading range that we do look at between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. But yeah, this one's just a very, very simple one. We've got a build up of liquidity right here. Just sort of below the lows, we've got sell side liquidity right there. Sometimes paired with equal lows built up from Asia. And then we get that sweeped out, known as a liquidity sweep. And then pretty much we wait for that engulf candle or the elite strategy confirmation up. As soon as we get that, that's when we look for entries. So let's get into one example that I really do want to show you step by step. So this one's going to be the entry type 1 as an example in the market. So looking at this one right here, step 1 is this. We wait for 8 a.m. to hit and then review the market. So first things first is we actually review the trend and the bias. Areas of liquidity reach, do we have imbalances? Do we have sell side liquidity, equal lows, etc., etc.? And what's the most likely entry model type? In this scenario, just having a little look through it, and please do at the same time look through the PDF sort of slides and actually review this by yourself as well. Obviously, that's going to be in there. Where do we actually see price going? Now, in this scenario, we're going to be building up on it just a bit clearer over here. So this is the exact setup that we saw. As you can see in this scenario right here, what's been happening for quite a while, we've been pushing downwards. Obviously, we do have imbalances up top. So we're kind of flexible in which direction we could look for. We've got imbalances down here, sell side liquidity there, and imbalance up top as well. But from what everything presented us, between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, what we did see was price started to really look downwards. Okay, so that's the first thing we look for. Where can price actually move towards? And we clearly identified this imbalance right here. Second step, patiently wait for a pullback and an engulfed candle. Again, when just looking at everything right there, we're pretty much just, as soon as 8 o'clock opened, or as soon as we get close to that 8 o'clock open, we're going to start to look for entries, right? So what we're going to look for is 8 o'clock to open up, and then can we start to see an engulf candle? And in this scenario, this is exactly the one that we saw. It engulfed downwards, stop loss above the high, for example. And just looking at it, you enter the market with a market execution with your stop loss above the height of the candles you engulfed, then leaving your take profit at a maximum point. This is something I always recommend. Because of this is a lower time frame strategy, your sort of trade, it can move very quickly. My advice is always this: leave your take profit at the maximum zone where you think it can move within that day. For me personally, I saw it at the sell side liquidity right here. Obviously, one of my take profits was at the closure of the imbalance right here. But the main reason for that is by this time, you would have closed off some profits, right? This is the maximum one. And then obviously when it closes there, you take all your profits. So very, very simple. 8 o'clock hits. We've identified where we could move towards. Engulf candle downwards, entry, stop loss above, and we just let the trade run. Step 4, we look to go break even once we have a reason to think that price may reverse back to our entry. So read that again. Make sure to go break even once we have a reason to think that price may reverse back to our entry. What do I mean by that? For me personally, as soon as we start to take this liquidity down here, Asia lows, or even here, for example, As soon as we start to get to these areas, price could very, very easily just do something like this. Sweep this low and then come back. So we have to be careful there. That is the point that we go break even. We go to break even as soon as we have a reason to think that price may reverse on us. So as you can see, once we got to there, stop loss to break even, it would look something like that. And then as you can see, price never even came back to it. You know, we had some very, very nice profits with this one. Next step, we're going to be talking about taking profits. Now, usually, as I've talked about in the rules or in the rule book, I usually take 25% at each point. It just depends on how confident I am in the trade and how far I think it could go. In this scenario, we had take profit 1 at the low, as you can see right here. Take profit 2, fill the imbalance, and take profit 3 right at the bottom. So for me personally, I can't remember exactly where I took most of the profit, but this is the general way that I do sort of hold onto my trades. So yeah, very, very simple, guys. You know, this one you get repeated time and time again. Entry type 1 is the main one that we're going to look for. A liquidity sweep of the lows. And remember what I talked about in the beginning, the whole idea behind this strategy. It was built on this entry sort of model right here. It was just built on entry 1. Then obviously it developed into type 2, type 3 because of what I saw in the markets. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Very, very simple. Please do go over it again and again. Look at the back test that we've sent out to you guys as well in the PDFs, and just see sort of how you could have applied everything yourself as well. And obviously when you are going through your own back tests, you'll realize for yourself as well. So yeah, that's going to be it from me, guys. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.